So, has a permanent professional home office gone from a nice to have to an absolute must have for you? If so, you're in exactly the right place. Let's talk about how to turn that vision of a perfect workspace into a reality by confidently finding and hiring the right person for the job.
We're going to break this whole thing down step by step. First, we'll get crystal clear on your vision. Then, we'll get a handle on the costs so you can have smart conversations. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of finding and checking out your pros, and finally, how to make that big decision with absolute confidence.
So, let's start with the why behind all this. For so many of us, the whole idea of a home office has completely changed. It's not a temporary fix anymore. It's a permanent and really essential part of how we live. Does this picture look a little too familiar? Maybe you started out at the dining room table, thinking it was just for a little while, right? Then you kind of graduated to a spare room with some random furniture that just doesn't quite work. You've hit that point where you need a real, built-in solution that's actually designed for you and how you work.
Okay, so once you have that dream vision in your head, the next big question is always, what's this going to cost? So let's replace all that guesswork with a really clear breakdown of what actually goes into the final price.
All right, let's just jump right into the numbers, no beating around the bush. For a basic project, think a simple desk with some open shelving, you're usually looking at somewhere between $2,000 and $4,500. Now that mid-range, which is the most common, is where you add things like drawers and cabinets. That's typically between $4,500 and $9,000. And for the high-end stuff, floor-to-ceiling masterpieces in solid wood, you're looking at $9,000 and up.
But look, those ranges are really just a starting point. The real power, where you get to take control, is understanding why a project costs what it does. The final price tag really comes down to 5 key decisions that are completely in your hands. So, believe it or not, your choice of material is probably the single biggest lever you could pull on the overall cost. You've got MDF, which is your most budget-friendly option, and it's absolutely perfect if you want that flawless, smooth painted finish. Then there's plywood, the durable, mid-range workhorse, great for strong cabinets. And of course, you have solid wood like oak or walnut. That's the premium choice for when you want that gorgeous, natural wood grain to be the star of the show.
Now, you're going to hear pros throw around this term cost per linear foot. And honestly, it can be super misleading. Just think about it this way. A simple 10-foot wide unit of nothing but open shelves is one thing. But a 10-foot unit with lower cabinets, a bunch of drawers, and crown molding, that could easily cost 3 times as much per foot. It just goes to show you complexity. The time and skill involved is the real driver of the cost, not just the size.
So here is a huge misconception I see all the time. People think they're mostly paying for wood and screws. But in reality, with custom work, the labor often makes up more than half the entire cost. What you're really paying for is the craftsman's skill and time. We're talking design, the actual building in their workshop, the meticulous finishing process, and then the final, precise installation right there in your home.
This is so important, the choice between paint and stain. It's really a choice about labor. A professional paint job is not just some guy with a brush and a can of paint. Oh no, it is a whole process of caulking every seam, priming, sanding, and spraying to get that perfect, durable surface. And staining? That could be even more work because the wood prep has to be absolutely perfect. Both take a ton of skill and time.
Okay, so now you get the numbers, you speak the language. Now for the most important part. How do you actually find the right person for the job? Let's walk through a clear, actionable game plan to get you there.
This is your game plan. Just follow these 4 simple steps. First, gather all your ideas. Save photos, make a list of everything you need. Second, set a realistic budget for yourself. Third, talk to at least 2 or 3 local pros. And listen, when you get those quotes, you've got to compare apples to apples. Look at the materials, the hardware, the finishing process, not just that bottom line number. And fourth, always check their past work and talk to the references. All right, I'm going to arm you with a few key questions to ask during those interviews. Here's your first one. Asking this question forces them to really think and justify their choices. A good answer here tells you everything. Are they actually listening to you and your budget, or are they just trying to sell you what's easiest for them? Okay, here's question number 2, and it's a big one. Since that finish is so critical to how everything looks and lasts, you want to hear them get excited about describing that multi-step process we talked about earlier. If they can proudly walk you through their sanding, priming, and spraying techniques, that is a massive green flag for quality. And now for my favorite question, because it's amazing how the little details tell the biggest stories. Asking about the hardware, the drawer slides, the hinges, tells you about their default level of quality.
Are things like soft close hinges and full extension drawer slides just standard for them? Their answer tells you so much about their standards right out of the gate. Okay, you've done all the hard work. You've done the research, you've asked the smart questions. Now it's time for that final step, making your choice with total 100% confidence. Let's look at what a really good proposal should include. Here's one of the most important things you should look for in their offer: a fixed price proposal. This isn't just a vague hourly estimate. It's a firm, locked-in price. This gives you total peace of mind, no scary surprises down the road. It means they've done their homework and they're confident in their numbers. That's a true pro.
And you have to remember, this isn't just another expense like buying a new sofa. Unlike some piece of flat-pack furniture, a custom built-in is a permanent upgrade to your house. It adds real, tangible value that you get to enjoy every single day, and it can be a huge selling point if you ever decide to move. So when it all comes down to it, the real question isn't just what will it cost, it's what is it worth? Is a beautiful, functional, personalized workspace just an expense, or is it an investment in your daily productivity, your comfort, and your home's value? Because at the end of the day, you're not just buying shelves and cabinets, you're investing in the way you live and work every single day.